In the spring of my sophomore year of high school, I traveled to the beautiful city of New York with my GT, AP, Art, and World History class. While in the city, we spent 4 days eating hot dogs, watching Broadway musicals, gazing at the lights of Times Square, and of course, visiting several of the famous art museums located in New York City. I was fortunate enough to be able to view many of the famous works of art located in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the Museum of Modern Art, and the Guggenheim. Of these three museums, my favorite was the Metropolitan Museum of Art. While in the Met, my classmates and I were given the opportunity to see many of the paintings that we had studied that year in class. Of these, one in particular stands out in my mind, El Greco's View of Toledo. I will now take this opportunity to discuss with you my personal view of the painting, a little background information on El Greco himself, and some of the artistic elements of the painting. Shortly after entering the museum, my classmates and I came across El Greco's View of Toledo. Upon seeing the painting, I remember being struck by the vivid green of the grass and the intensity of the darkening sky. The painting is large in size, and as I stood in front of it, I couldn't help but feel as though I was inside the landscape itself. The detail on the grass, sky, and buildings is truly awe-inspiring when seen through the naked eye as opposed to through a computer screen. Until this moment, I was not able to understand how much intensive and intricate work an artist must put into a painting of this magnitude. I walked away from View of Toledo with a heightened knowledge of expressionistic landscape as well as a heightened respect for the artist himself. In order to adequately address several of the artistic elements of the painting, a look into El Greco's life is necessary. El Greco, born Dominikos Theotokopoulos, was born in Crete, where he received early training in the Byzantine style. Around 1567, he moved to Venice, where he is presumed to have studied under Titian. In 1577, he moved to Toledo, where he lived out the remainder of his life. It was actually in Toledo that Dominikos Theotokopoulos received his much-needed nickname, El Greco. The Spaniards in Toledo referred to El Greco as El Greco, meaning the Greek, because of his Greek origin. In Toledo, El Greco lived stylishly, established his reputation, and remained there until his death in 1614. In light of El Greco's contentment and success in Toledo, it makes perfect sense that he would choose to portray the city in the majestic and beautiful light as he does in his View of Toledo. View of Toledo is full of symbolism and underlying religious meaning. This partial view of the landscape would have excluded a cathedral, but because Toledo is the religious capital of Spain, El Greco chose to imaginatively include the cathedral to the left of Alcazar, the dominant royal place, symbolizing the marriage of church and state. In this painting, the precisely accurate portrayal of Toledo's geography and architecture seems to have been overridden by the artist's desire to convey an emotional response to the city. El Greco uses intensity and depth of color to convey his feelings toward the city. The deep lush greens of the landscape represent fertility, which indicates that to El Greco, Toledo was a symbol of life, prosperity, and the center of life and religion. The city stands before a brewing storm and holds out steadfast, protected by God, against the supernatural forces of the angry sky. In my opinion, the rich and vibrant green of the grass, contrasted by the ferocity of the darkening sky, make the painting the truly spectacular beauty that it is. Not only does it provide the viewer with an aesthetically pleasing sight, but also thought-provoking religious symbols and insight into El Greco's life. Through the use of religious symbolism and intensity of color, El Greco shows that to him, Toledo represented life, prosperity, and religious sanctuary. El Greco's career thrived while in Toledo, and his clearly, overwhelmingly positive attitude toward the city is clear in his View of Toledo.